Daniel has been working on the same idea for 3 years. The business plan is finished, the logo is finished, the research is finished. He knows his competitors, he knows his customers, he knows exactly what he wants to build. But tonight, just like every other night, his cursor is sitting on the same sentence. Launch date coming soon. He deletes it, types, launch date next quarter, saves the document, closes the laptop, and tells himself the same thing he's been saying for 3 years. I'm almost ready. The strange part? Daniel is not lazy. He's ambitious. He actually wants this more than most people want anything. So why does his brain keep stopping him? The psychology of why ambitious people stay stuck. Psychologists who study human behavior have found something fascinating. Some of the people who struggle the most with taking action are not people without goals. They're people with huge goals. Because when something matters deeply to you, your brain doesn't only see opportunity, it also sees risk. Risk of failure, risk of judgment, risk of finding out that maybe the dream in your head is not the reality. And that's where self-sabotage begins. Not with a lack of ambition, but with a mind trying to protect you. Daniel's problem wasn't that he didn't care. His problem was that caring made starting feel dangerous. Reason 1. The fantasy feels like progress. The first trap is one almost every ambitious person has experienced. You start living in the future. You imagine the successful version of yourself, the finished project, the people congratulating you, the life you will have one day. And something interesting happens. Your brain gives you a small emotional reward just from imagining it. This is why planning feels so satisfying. Research in psychology shows that mentally rehearsing a goal activates reward-related systems in the brain. The problem? Sometimes your brain starts confusing thinking about progress with actually making progress. You feel productive without producing anything. That's why some people spend years learning about success, watching videos, reading books, taking courses, planning, preparing, but never taking the uncomfortable step where reality can judge them. Reason 2. The fear hiding behind perfection. The second trap is harder to admit. Sometimes perfectionism is not about wanting something to be great. Sometimes it's about avoiding the moment where it can fail. Because before Daniel launches, his idea is perfect. It has unlimited potential. Nobody can reject it. Nobody can criticize it. Nobody can prove it wasn't as good as he imagined. But the second he puts it into the real world, everything changes. Now there are numbers, opinions, results, reality. And for many ambitious people, reality feels scarier than imagination. Reason 3. Waiting to feel ready. Daniel keeps telling himself, I just need more time. After I learn this one more thing, after I fix this one more problem. And it sounds responsible. But here's the psychology most people misunderstand. Confidence usually does not come before action. It comes because of action. Think about anything you've become good at. Driving, speaking, working, creating. You were not confident first. You became confident because you survived being a beginner. The feeling Daniel is waiting for, the feeling of being completely ready, doesn't arrive before the first step. It arrives after. Reason 4. Your identity can keep you stuck. This is where it gets personal. Because people don't just protect goals, they protect identities. If Daniel secretly believes, I'm someone who never finishes things, I'm someone who always starts but never succeeds, then taking action creates a problem, because success would force him to change the story he has believed about himself. Psychologists call this self-consistency. Human beings naturally try to behave in ways that match the identity they carry. Your brain prefers a familiar version of you, even if that version is unhappy, because familiar feels safer than unknown. Reason 5. Overthinking feels like control. Another trap, overthinking. The research, the strategies, the endless comparison, the what-if questions. It feels like preparation, but sometimes it is simply fear wearing a smarter outfit. Because thinking gives you the feeling of control. Action removes that control. When you act, you can be wrong. When you plan forever, you can stay protected. The uncomfortable truth? Some people don't avoid action because they don't know what to do. They avoid action because they know exactly what happens next. They find out. Reason 6. Addicted to potential. This is the one that keeps people stuck for years. Potential. The idea of who you could become. Because the person in your imagination is incredible, confident, successful, disciplined, loved. But the real version? The one who starts? That person is messy. They make mistakes. They need practice. They look foolish sometimes. And the brain hates that discomfort. So it chooses the beautiful fantasy over the imperfect reality. Because potential cannot fail. Only action can. The shift. How Daniel changes. The thing that finally changes Daniel is not motivation. It is not a perfect plan. It is one small action. One email, one phone call, one imperfect attempt. Because every time you act, you give your brain new evidence. I am someone who follows through. Even once. Even badly. That matters. Your identity changes through proof, not promises. Daniel doesn't become fearless. He still doubts himself. He still wants to wait. But now he has something he didn't have before. Evidence. The gap between the person you are and the person you want to become is rarely closed by thinking harder. It is closed by doing something small enough that fear cannot stop you. Because confidence is not something you find. It is something you build, one action at a time. So if you've been waiting to feel ready, remember this. The version of you that you're waiting for is created by the actions you keep avoiding. If this felt familiar, comment one thing. What is one action you've been delaying? Not the whole dream, just the next step. Because sometimes the biggest change begins with the smallest move. Subscribe to Behavior Unfolded for more psychology behind the thoughts, habits, and behaviors that shape our lives.